Today I choose happiness. I've made it my choice. No matter the circumstance, I desire to live in joy. My life has new meaning. My past cannot stay. I won't be defeated. I won't be persuaded. Today I choose happiness. There's no other way. Choose happiness. What does that really mean? What defines it? How do you reach it? How do you achieve it? To be honest with you guys, for the first 30 years of my life, I've spent learning how to live without it. Depression, I know a heck of a lot about that, more than I wish to know. It's actually the reason why I settled for unhappiness, because happiness seemed too far out of reach. So, today, this is the first time I'm sharing my story in this way. For the last few years, I have been designing journals and teaching journaling, because that's just the way life goes. I always tell my parents, I know you would have never sent me to college if you had known I would be teaching journaling. But for the most part, today is my first time sharing my story in this way. And I've shared it through writing, but today I'm going to use my voice. On my journey, I've learned something. I've learned that happiness is a choice, a decision you can make even in the midst of pain. You can overcome dark times and awaken the purpose of life living inside of you. But you have to discover it. It's there. I know it's there because I'm living it today. And today I want you to know you're worth writing for if you don't remember anything else. And I'm going to share with you my unexpected journey through journaling that changed my life. So, living with depression. I've always kept a journal for as long as I can really remember. I learned how to journal in church. My youth group leader, she gave us an activity where we took composition notebooks and turned them into prayer journals. So essentially, my first journal entry started with a prayer. And I've been journaling the rest of my life and collecting more journals than I even have room to store. My husband, he can't stand it. I literally have been journaling and collecting journals forever. But as I grew up, I faced a lot of rejection. I faced traumatic life events, and I faced a lot of verbal abuse that crushed me. And so there's this saying that goes, the people you love are the ones that hurt you the most. And that was very true for me. So there would be situations I would be in, and I used to smile all the time, always a happy person, until my happiness became the reason people hated me. They would say, "Why are you smiling all the time?" Or, "Why is she always so happy?" And that made me feel bad about myself. Then, the way I acted became a problem. People would say, why are you always acting like you're better than us? Or why are you acting like someone else? And I never really understood what that meant. There would be situations where I would cry because I would be so emotional. I can't help that. That's just the type of person I am, so I would cry. And then people would call me a crybaby. And then I would go through life being belittled because of my emotions. And then there was my hair. It looks fine today, doesn't it? But even still today, there's moments where people would tell me that I was ugly because of my hair. Sorry, I'm emotional, I told you. They wouldn't say I was ugly to my face. They would say, "Don't wear your hair like that. You'd be pretty if you wear it this way." Or they would say, "Don't wear your hair that way." And that only made me feel worse. So every day of my life, I felt like nothing I could do was ever really good enough to be accepted or loved unless I changed who I was or worked for the love I wanted to feel. As a result, I spent a lot of my life trying to avoid being judged for who I was by trying to be something I wasn't. And at one point, I just decided I wanted to be invisible. I didn't want to give anybody anything to talk about me about. And in that loneliness, my depression crept in. I used to get asked, Latonia, how did your depression start? Because today my life is so different. And I would say, I really don't know where my depression began. I don't know where my sadness turned to pain that never went away. But actually preparing for this talk today, I know where the point is. It's just been a series of events and series of pain. And I'm going to continue to tell you where it all leads to. Believe me, it's a good ending, I promise. So my personal struggles of low esteem is what I faced for years. And I basically decided I'm going to basically use journaling to vent out my pain because that was the only tool I had to express myself without feeling any judgment, where I could just free my thoughts without anybody telling me how inadequate I was or judge me based on the way I was feeling. So I went through life burying my pain into my journals. And in those lonely years, the constant feelings of rejection made me feel worthless, made me feel suicidal, and I lost parts of me that I wish I hadn't lost. And I used to smile all the time until my smile went away. So I shut down, and in my journaling, I believe that if I stayed busy, if I stayed strong, if I kept smiling with this smile on my face, all of my past wounds would be brushed under the rug. And I just went on with life wearing a mask. So all that to say, basically, living with depression and the shame of things that have happened in our past sucks. For a lot of us, we wear masks to protect ourselves. For a lot of us, we wear masks to hide our pain. I did both. But nonetheless, like many of us, I moved forward into my adulthood. So in 2013, I became pregnant with my second daughter. I was so excited to be expecting joy in my life once again, just expecting this new baby in my family and to just feel this happiness that I have always wanted to feel. But about 6 months into my pregnancy, I became very sick to the point where I had to be on bed rest. Now, my doctor had already told me about postpartum depression, and I figured, yeah, I know all about that. I'll be fine. But I actually wasn't. Before I even got to postpartum, I found myself in a dark place dealing with a lot of transitions taking place in my life. I was having loss of work due to being sick with the pregnancy, facing a lot of financial hardships because I was out of work, and I was dealing with a lot of broken relationships in my life that I had been dealing with for years that were now hurting me. I found myself buried with stress and dealing with a lot of those old, deep-rooted pains of my past reoccurring in my life once again. At this time when I needed people around me to be my support system, I had no one there, and I was alone. These emotions stirred up so much anger inside of me because I was tired of it all, and I hit rock bottom. How many of you have ever been in a situation like this? How many of you have tried to make things better in your life, but all the trying things just seem like they get worse? Do you ever feel stuck or have a hard time focusing on achieving your goals and dreams in your everyday life? Do you feel like no one understands what you're going through? Just think about it for just a second. Because this is where I found myself. I had been holding on to all this buried pain and sadness for so long, and I was tired of it. So as usual, I turned to my journal to just pour out these words of pain and hurt that I needed to let go. And as I sat there writing in my sadness, I said, I got to think of something else to pull me away from this, because I'm not going back down that road again where I had already gone before. In this memory, you can see, this is my daughter, my first daughter. Her name is Kyra. Her birthday was a few days earlier, actually 4 years ago today. Her birthday was last week. And I thought about this day. I had no money, and in this digital age, I had no internet. But I remember capturing this memory of her birthday on my phone. And I wanted to give her the best birthday that I could, so I said, okay, what can I do? I have no money, and I don't know, I can't get out of here, I'm sick, I'm 6 months pregnant, what the hell else is gonna happen? So I said, I'm gonna get her on a bike, and we're gonna go bike riding through the city park. There I was, I wish I had a picture. 6 months pregnant, and I put her on the back of my bike, and I said, we're going out riding. And she's 2, she couldn't really say that much, but I was crazy because I couldn't ride anything. I could barely move myself. So I called my sister. I have her join me on this bike ride. I put my daughter on her bike. I'm on my bike, and we're riding through the park. And then when I get home, I decide we're going to play dress up because she loves dress up. So I put her on a tutu skirt. I pulled out some of my big old shoes and some costume jewelry, and we just played that day. And it was the best day I had felt joy in years. The memory of that day was so powerful that I didn't realize the joy I was looking and searching for I already had. And at that moment, it was the first time I looked at my journal in a whole different way. I saw the pages filled with pain that I had been writing for years. Let's Write Life is the name of my journaling company. I called it Let's Write Life because let's means let us. Together we can is what I translate that to, because I want to be a part of someone's journey. Write means to make real. Life is what's most meaningful to us. I had been writing pain into my life for years, holding on to it in my journals. And looking at my journal that day, I said, I can't write like this anymore. If this memory could give me so much joy in the midst of my pain, I want to hold on to that. And I began to write. I began to write about the memory. I began to write about the life I wanted, the happiness I wanted to feel every day. And my life changed. Over the next year, I began a journey of restoring hope to heal my broken past and discover who I am. I faced a lot of ups and downs on that journey. I had to learn how to forgive. I had to learn how to face people who hurt me and be strong enough to let them go. But on my journey, I kept journaling, making my words be the words that I spoke to myself to empower me. I no longer decided to write about pain, but I wrote about happiness. I changed my words into my power, and my words became my actions. My journey through journaling has led me to remove the mask and to look in the mirror and to learn to love who I am today. Today I smile because I'm truly happy. Today I smile because I'm truly free. So, on my journey, I learned a few things, a whole lot of things. I'm still on this journey. The first thing I want you guys to take from me and hold on to for the rest of your life is that you can choose happiness. It really is a choice. And what the meaning of happiness is whatever you define it to be. My rock bottom breakthrough was exactly where I needed to be to realize I was strong enough to change. Because I had been through depression before, but I never believed in myself enough to change. And I never knew that my change was going to come through my words. So you can start writing and journaling right now for your change to happen. The next thing I want to say is dare to dream. Dreams can be something that you may feel is out of reach. My dream was to be happy, and I thought it was out of reach, but it wasn't. So move forward, stop letting fear win, because fear is what was stopping me. And when I heard all the stories from earlier today, all I could think about was we get labeled as depressed. We get labeled as the ones who have disabilities, but the greatest disability we all share is fear. The last thing I want you to know is you're worth writing for. When I made a decision to choose happiness in my life, that's when I understood what my life was worth. There's no value on what I'm sharing here with you today, but I'm here because of that decision that I made to choose happiness. You matter. You don't have to be alone. You have a purpose. So don't be afraid to find out what that is. Never forget who you are. You're worth writing for. You always were. You always will be. I was at a rock bottom time, but ironically, rock bottom is exactly where I needed to be. Sometimes you have to be in a dark place to truly see what it shines. In the past, journaling was my way of venting and expressing my hurt. But now it became a tool I used to remove the pain. I went through years of ups and downs and self-discovery that allowed me to heal. Today, I'm living a life of joy I never thought was possible for me. I realized I was stronger than I believed and that I was never alone. My happiness was all around me. I want you to know the same can happen for you. If you always remember, today I choose happiness. I made it my choice. No matter the circumstance, I desire to live in joy. My life has new meaning. My past cannot stay. I won't be defeated. I won't be persuaded. Today I choose happiness. There's no other way. Thank you.